What's going on, everybody? It's the Bulls Show, aka Aiden, and welcome back to another video. Ladies and gentlemen, today we've got a Chicago Bulls and Milwaukee Bucks game reaction in which Milwaukee didn't have Giannis Antetokounmpo. Milwaukee didn't have Chris Middleton for most of that game, but no problems for Milwaukee as they basically, I guess, destroy the Chicago Bulls. I wouldn't necessarily call this a massive destruction, but the Bulls had another double-digit lead in this game, and they let it fly away within a blink of an eye. And we'll talk about this game and why it is very disappointing in this video. Before we get started, please like and subscribe to the Bulls Show, turn notifications on, and let me know in the comments below your thoughts about the Chicago Bulls and whether or not you agree that this is a bad loss for the Bulls in total. I understand. We're in the play-in tournament now. A lot of people don't care about the regular season anymore. It's cruise control until we get into the play-in tournament and when those games truly matter. However, if you think about it really deeply, Milwaukee's probably the team that we're going to be versing in the playoffs if we get out of the play-in tournament. So again, I would say that's a very bad loss in every sense of the word. We lost this game 105-92. Again, very disappointing by the Chicago Bulls. We had a, I would say, competitive first half, and then the second half it just went to the wayside a little bit. Wasn't really that competitive, and again, Milwaukee just turned it on. They flipped the switch, and look, that's what great teams do. I'm not here to say the Bulls got unlucky or anything like that. I think it's clear as day now. It's what, close to 80 games into the season. 80 games into the season, we've not been unlucky. These losses are rightfully deserved for the Chicago Bulls, and Milwaukee were outstanding, played much better as a team, had much more contributors on the offensive end, and that's why they won the game. I thought both teams defensively were not too bad in this game, but at the end of the day, they had more offensive firepower. They produced more offensively, which absolutely is mind-boggling to me because, as I mentioned before, we have DeMar DeRozan, we have Zach LaVine, we have Nikola Vucevic, all three of them on the team. That's our best three players that you could put in the lineup. Not to mention, we had a lot of well-balanced players on this team that actually contributed a lot more than I expected from them in this Milwaukee Bucks game. But the problem is, two out of our three best three players went missing. Zach LaVine went missing in this game, unfortunately. Yes, he had great assists and stuff like that, but when it comes to scoring the ball, which we need our scorers to play well against Milwaukee. We have any chance to win, even if they have none of their players healthy. It looks like we need our best players to score the ball. And both of them didn't do it. DeMar definitely didn't do it. What, he had his first points in the fourth quarter? That's unacceptable. I'm sorry. For a player that is basically one of our leaders, played 36 minutes in this game, to get his first points in the fourth quarter is unacceptable. And it needs to be called out as such. And that is why DeMar DeRozan went missing in this game. Basically, Vooch pretty much carried us the whole first half, let's be honest. And in the second half, what did the Bulls do? What we normally do. We went away from the hot hand. We didn't pass to him in the post. We didn't pass to him in the pick and pop. We didn't really do anything of significance with Nikola Vucevic in the second half. And basically, the shots that I at least remember came in the fourth quarter when he had a whole quarter of not shooting, and they were bad shots to be fair, but still, that's when he got the bulk of his shots in the second half. Why do the Bulls continue to persist on that sort of game plan? Again, how do you expect the Bulls to be anything of significance in the play-in or the playoffs if you're going to go away with what works? And it's as simple as that. And 80 games into the season, the Bulls are not learning that lesson. I said it in the last game with the Lakers, because we did the exact same thing there. Vooch had well over 30 points in that game, but only, what, 3 or 4 points in the second half? So he had the hot hand all night long, but in the second half, we didn't go to him. He only had a couple of shots in the game, in the second half. And that's exactly what happened here as well. So again, if we're going to persist on doing that sort of nonsense, then don't expect us to do anything in the play-in tournament and the playoffs. But as I mentioned before, you'd want to make a statement against this Milwaukee Bucks team. At least I would think so. Because, again, there's no Giannis, there's no Chris Middleton. They're a weakened team at that point. They're one of the MVPs of the league and one of the better, I guess, shot makers in the league are out. Now, Jrue Holiday is unbelievable, and if there's one person I would want on that Milwaukee Bucks team to join the Bulls, it would be Jrue Holiday, without a shadow of a doubt. He's an amazing player. They still have their rim protector. They went bigger today, and the Bulls also tried to go bigger today with no Caruso in the lineup. But at the end of the day, that's a team you want to make a statement from. Let's be honest. Maybe unless the play-in is something that I don't understand completely, because we haven't been in the play-in before. What I understand from the situation is the Bulls have 2 games left. you have to hope that either one of the Atlanta Hawks or the Raptors lose both of their upcoming games and the Bulls win their upcoming games to climb ahead of them, and that's a tough ask. So I would say 90% we are probably going to be in the 10th seed in the play-in tournament. 10th versus 9th in the play-in tournament. So at this point, I believe that's the Raptors. Bulls, if the Bulls beat the Raptors, they're going to have to verse the loser of the 7th and 8th seed. And whoever gets that game, wins that game, if it's the Bulls, for example, we would go on to be the 8th seed in the Eastern Conference. We don't have a chance of getting the 7th seed unless we actually climb into the top 8 before the season's end. And guess who's first in the Eastern Conference? It's the Milwaukee Bucks. So again, as I mentioned before, and as I'll say again, Milwaukee is the team that you're most likely going to be versing in the first round of the Eastern Conference playoffs if we get there. So you would want to make a statement, especially when it's a weakened team. Now Milwaukee's going to come into it. Of course, they're going to feel confident already because they definitely are not scared of the Bulls. But at least they're going to come into this knowing that it's probably going to be a breeze throughout the whole first round. And we're going to do little to no significance towards them, healthy or not healthy. And it's exactly how it was last year. So it's very hard to say the Bulls have any chance of even picking up a game, let alone trying to actually make this a competitive series. I don't think it will be with how the Bulls have been playing recently. First and foremost, the last 2 games, not very good. Even the Memphis game, we had to come back from 23 points down or whatever the case may be to win that game. Terrible first quarters, terrible first halves to a game. And again, it just looks like the Bulls don't have enough energy left in the tank. I called it out a couple of games ago, and I'm saying it now. I think the Bulls team puts so much energy into actually trying to finish the season in the play-in tournament that they look completely dead on their feet out there half the time. I hope that's not the case, but it's proving to me at least that it probably will be the case. So yeah. It is what it is. Extremely disappointing by this Bulls team. And look, we've got 2 games to go. Player of the game doesn't necessarily matter. I would say Vucevic, but it doesn't matter. Must improve. Honestly, I don't. It's probably DeMar. But none of that really matters now. We've got 2 games to try and pick up wins. Either the Bulls could do one or 2 things in my eyes. You can try to advance in. You want to get to the 9th seed, for example. Raptors are 1 game in front of us. In my opinion, it's absolutely crucial to go as high into the table as possible, because if we verse the Toronto Raptors, the last thing you want to do is verse the Toronto Raptors in Toronto. That's much more difficult for the Bulls. But again, we have seen the Bulls recently play better away from home, so maybe it's not a bad thing to verse the Toronto Raptors in Toronto. But you'd surely want the home court advantage, so you'd want to verse the Raptors at the United Center. You want the home crowd advantage. You want the Bulls to really, I guess, have that momentum on their side. And same with Atlanta, but I don't think we're going to catch Atlanta. Again, I think we've got 2 games left. Atlanta, I think, have 2 games left. You're basically asking them to lose both of the games for us to win both of those games. And yeah, I just don't think that's going to happen. I basically think it's either 9th or 10th for us. And you want to finish 9th so you can play at home. I think we could do it. I don't know. Look, Dallas is our next game. I'm not sure what Dallas team is going to show up to the table there. I think they're officially out of the play-in tournament, if I'm not mistaken. They're 11th, actually, and no, they're not. They do have a chance at the play-in tournament. They are 1 game behind the OKC Thunder, so my mistake. They are in the play-in tournament, or they can be in the play-in tournament, so that's going to be their best team out there, most likely. Dallas are a team that I'm scared of. I don't care what anybody says, how bad they've been. They have definitely fallen from grace. That team, that trade has not worked out, and I doubt that we're going to see the same team come into the next season. I think Kyrie will leave, and I think they're going to have to try again to rebuild around Luka Doncic before Luka Doncic probably requests a trade. And I think his attitude recently towards the Dallas Mavericks, there's a possibility he could request a trade out of that team. I don't think it will happen this season, but it could definitely happen in the long term. So Dallas have got to be very mindful of that. But if they want to put themselves in the best position, they're going to come out firing against the Chicago Bulls team. I believe this game is going to be in Dallas, if I'm not mistaken. So again, hard game for the Chicago Bulls, and with Kyrie and Luka on the same team, even if they've not worked out very well, I still think that's a threat for the Chicago Bulls, especially if we start out slow, because I think Dallas can take advantage of that. And then the Pistons game, you're assuming the Pistons have rested most of their players by now, I assume. I'm not too sure on that, but again, they have the worst record in the league, so I don't think they would want to jeopardize that at this point. So I assume that that Detroit team has rested most of their players and will be ready to, I guess, hopefully give us a free win. I hope. Again, the Bulls are going to have to take it, because I don't think they're just going to hand it over to us. but still, it is what it is. Disappointing last 2 games, and it's disappointing as well because you want the momentum towards the end of the season. Again, the post All-Star break for the most part has been okay for the Chicago Bulls. I still think we've won more than we've lost, even though it's probably not by much at this point in time. And with the 2 games coming up, there are 2 winnable games for the Chicago Bulls in the next 2. You want to end the season on confidence. And we've lost to a competitive rival in the Atlanta Hawks that was in a position we could have overtaken. And we've lost to the first-seeded Milwaukee Bucks team. That's just a rivalry based on the things that happened last season. A rivalry based on the fact that they're very close in terms of location. And a rivalry in terms of the fact that we're probably going to verse them in the playoffs if we get out of the play-in. So, yeah. I think the Bulls are low on confidence now, and let's hope that it's not going to be the case, I guess, once we verse the Dallas Mavericks, Detroit, and then into the play-in. The season is nearly over, ladies and gentlemen. Whether you like it or not, we're in for either a fantastic journey or a rough end to the season. That's how I feel it's going to go. Fun fact, if you are the 10th seed, apparently the 10th seed has not won a play-in tournament game this season. Or not this season, sorry, since its existence in the NBA. The 10th seed has yet to win a play-in tournament game. So that screams to everything. Let's hope we could be the one that actually breaks that trend. And we could be the record-breaking Bulls once again. I know a lot of people like to call us that, streak breakers and stuff like that. Maybe that's the Chicago Bulls this season. Anyway, I'll end this video here. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe if you're new. Disappointing. But of course, I think people have come to expect the Bulls can disappoint this season. Stay safe, stay healthy, stay tuned for more. Take care, and peace.